Hello, welcome to another video, and it is time to set my priority TBR for 2024. I need to make sure I finish this one because the last couple of years I have not. I haven't yet, at the point of filming this, done my 2023 in review, so that's coming up, and I know for a fact that I did not finish my priority reads for 2023, so fingers crossed I can manage it for 2024. Spoiler alert, the books that I did not finish from the 2023 list are the first books on the 2024 list, and I know what they are because I've made a mental list of them. I wasn't going to do like 24 books for 2024 because that's unachievable. I tend to stick to lists of 10. So here are 10 books that I really need to prioritize getting to in 2024. I don't know what most of these are about. I am a mood reader. I read on vibes. A lot of the time when I find books and get an interest in books, it's off like one line alone. Like if I spot one of my, like, what do you call them, like hype words? Buzzwords? That's the word I'm looking for. If I spot one of my buzzwords in a blurb, I'm there. So a lot of them are like buzzwordy for me, even though I might not necessarily know what they're about, and some of them I might know. Anyway, let's get to the point and start off with The Emperor's Blades by Brian Staveley. I am so sorry, Alicia. I promised Alicia that I would read this last year. I put it on my end of year TBR, which was wildly unachievable, and I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I failed, and I am so sorry to her for that. This not only has been like personally recommended by Alicia, I've heard other people say very positive things about it. It is a buzzwordy one for me. The Emperor has been murdered, leaving behind an empire in turmoil. Oh, literally, leaving the empire in turmoil is the rest of that sentence. That is buzzwordy for me. There's a conspiracy. The Emperor's son is training for the Empire's deadliest fighting force. After several accidents and a dying soldier's warning, he realizes his life is also in danger. And the daughter is hunting for her father's murder, and the heir to the Empire, who is studying in a monastery, must master ancient powers. Yeah, very buzzwordy for me. Internal conflicts, possibly. Empire in turmoil. Dead Emperor. There will probably be a theme in this video. There always is when it comes to my priority reads. You will learn my taste very quickly if you don't already know it. But number one priority is this one. Also, I'm really sorry for my nails. I've lost 3 of them, and I haven't had them redone yet, and I'm very sad about it. So I'm just going to address it so no one else has to. I'm aware. Next up is The Grace of Kings. The Emperor is on his deathbed. His people are exhausted by his vast conscriptive engineering projects, and the councillors conspire only for their own gain. An emperor is dying. Internal conflict. An empire on the brink of turmoil. Very up my street. Even the gods themselves are restless. This is one that I have in December been really in the mood to get to and just not got to. So I do anticipate this one being something that I will pick up pretty early in 2024, I hope, because I'm very excited about it. I have these gorgeous broken binding editions. They're out of frame, they're too high up, but they are gorgeous. I love them. I need to read this so desperately. This is the Dandelion Dynasty, the first one being The Grace of Kings. Buzzwords. Buzzwords, and I've heard fantastic things about this. I don't know if I've heard of anyone not enjoying this, actually. So, high hopes for this one, definitely. They are the ones that I did not get to off my priority list, sadly. I had thought there was more than 2, but it turns out there's just 2. So, it's not too bad. I managed 8 of the others, and they were also like series that I was reading as well, so I did okay. But yeah, these 2 are the first 2 on this list. However, I did make an enormous end of year TBR where I mentioned a load of other books that I was really in the mood to read and didn't. So let's continue in that fashion with The Fragile Threads of Power by V. Schwab. I don't know how I've got to this point having not read this. I thought that this book was going to be the sort that as soon as it was in my hands, as soon as it came through the door, I was going to absolutely gobble up. And for some reason, that hasn't happened. I'm still very excited about this. I still anticipate adoring it. The Shades of Magic trilogy is one of my absolute favourites. Victoria Schwab is one of my favourite authors. I love all of her writing. I just can't pinpoint why I haven't picked this one up yet, but I need to get to it. In this one, I believe there is some sort of rebellion in Red London and magic is disappearing. The city boils with rebellion, yes. And our new main character in this one, Tess, is a young woman with a knack for fixing broken things. Her unique powers can weave the threads of powers together. So Tess, it seems like, could be the hope for bringing magic back to Red London because she can fix them with her unique thread power. I'm very intrigued by this, and Victoria Schwab is always a good read for me, so I'm very excited about this. Just don't know why it's taken me so long. So 2024, she will be read. Another one that I am shocked I have not yet read is The Will of the Many by James Islington. Islington. Every single time. I read the Lycaeneus trilogy by James Islington very early in 2023, gobbled it up, absolutely loved it, adored it. That was on my priority list for last year, and anticipated that when I got my mitts on this, again, it would be one that I would jump straight into, absolutely devour, have a great time with, and I just haven't got round to doing that, so 2024 is definitely the year for that. I've heard amazing things about this, and I still fail to remember what it's about, other than it's Roman-inspired? Yes, I remember. Our main character has been sent to an academy to solve a murder, search for an ancient weapon, and uncover secrets that may tear the Republic apart. So again, we're having internal conflicts, an empire being threatened and torn apart. Do we have a dead emperor? That's all we need to add this to my list. Maybe. I don't know who's been murdered, but maybe. I loved James Islington's other books. I have high hopes for this one as well. Gotta get to it. Got to get to it. Honestly, I've heard so many good things about it. Next up is one that has been calling my name recently, and that is The Kingdom of Liars by Nick Martell. The cover of this just looks very up my street. Kingdom of Liars sounds very up my street. Some things run in families, like magic, betrayal, and murder. That sounds very up my street, and I believe our main character's father killed the king's son? Michael was branded a traitor and his family exiled from courtly life after his father murdered the king's 9-year-old son. Sounding kind of familiar, am I right? Conning, cheating, and dueling. Blah, 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 blah. When the opportunity arrives to return to court via the most dangerous member of the King's Royal Council, Michael takes it, hoping for clues to unlock his hidden past. Instead, he's going to find a royal family spiralling into self-serving dictatorship as beyond the walls, gun-wielding rebels clash with magically trained militia. Empire on the brink of war? Turmoil? Possibly dead royals? It's just a recipe for success. It's what I know, it's what I love, and I have the whole trilogy of this, and I kind of just want to binge it all. It's really shouting to me lately. I want to read this really badly. Next up, I have some more John Gwynne. Last year, I tackled the Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. Adored it, loved it, made me cry a few times, had a fantastic time with it, And now I would very much like to tackle the Blood and Bone trilogy, which starts with A Time of Dread. So I'm just going to stick book 1 on this priority list, but I would like to get to all 3. Same with the Kingdom of Liars ones, like I would love to get through all 3 of those, but we'll just stick 1 book on the list. I don't know what this is about, and I don't know if I necessarily want to. I just know it's the same world as The Faithful and the Fallen. I think it's set like a few hundred years after, but same world, just in the future. So we have a lot of the races that we are familiar with through the Faithful and the Fallen series, a fragile peace that needs to be upheld, but demons waiting in the shadows. There's gonna be betrayal, there's gonna be battling, there's gonna be a predator or something far worse. Blurbed by Sebastian de Castell, which is what I love to see, but also it's John Gwynne, so I anticipate enjoying this, I anticipate this being very good. I've loved what I've read from him before. This one should not let me down. This is going on the list. Number 7 on my list is The Hunters by David Ragg. This is another one that when it came out and I first got my mitts on it, I thought I would jump straight into, and I did not. It's been sitting on my shelf for a while and I need to read it and rectify that problem. David Ragg wrote The Black Hawks, which is a book that I absolutely love. Love the writing style, love the humour. It's right there with its sequel, The Righteous. And as soon as I knew that David Ragg was coming out with something new, I needed to get my hands on it, and I just haven't read it. Can I remember what this is about? Probably not. She's on the run. They're out to kill, but what happens when you try to catch a hunter? Rhea's a woman with a violent past, one she thought she'd left behind. After years of wandering, she and her niece have finally built a small life for themselves at the edge of the known world. But sometimes the past refuses to stay buried, and Rhea's is about to catch up with her. And this time, there will be blood. The land is in turmoil. Buzzword. And professional killers have arrived in their town looking for a white-haired woman and a child, setting off a desperate chase through deserts, mountains, and mines. Rhea will have to discover her former self if she is to keep them both alive. It's a chase for survival and a land in turmoil. Very buzzwordy, again, and I enjoyed David Ragg's writing in the past. Need to read this one ASAP. In a kind of similar fashion to ones we've seen on this list already, another author that I discovered that I loved in 2023 was Matthew Ward, who came out with a new book, and I thought I would sink my teeth into it as soon as I got it. I haven't yet. You know what else I haven't done yet? Finished Matthew Ward's other series, Legacy of Light. 2024 is the year I'm coming for you. I promise. But that's a final book in a series, so it's not going on this list. But I will be reading it in 2024. I will be. And then I will be reading Matthew Ward's next book. The sequel to this one has actually been announced as well, so I do need to get a move on. But this is The Darkness Before Them. And the tagline here, all paths lead to vengeance. Does that sound pretty buzzwordy? I think it does. Set in a world of ancient myth and dangerous magic, The Darkness Before Them begins a heart-pounding adventure in which a thief dares to seek vengeance and finds herself on the path to war. These are dark times for the kingdom. As the magical mists of the Vale devour the land, the populace struggles beneath the rule of ruthless noble houses and their uncaring immortal king. This sounds so good. Kat doesn't care about any of that. A talented thief, she's pursuing one big score that will settle the debt that destroyed her family. No easy feat in a realm where indentured spirits hold vigil over every vault and treasure room. However, Kat has a unique gift. She can speak to those spirits and even command them. She'll need every advantage she can get. Kat's not a hero, she just wants to be free, to have her old life back. But as rebellion rekindles and the war for Khaled's future begins, everyone, Kat included, will have to pick a side. That sounds very buzzwordy, very up my street, epic fantasy as it should be, big, bold, and addictive. I have loved what I've read from Matthew Ward before. I anticipate loving this as well. It sounds incredibly up my street, and reading that blurb again right now, I kind of want to read this right this very second, but I can't because I need to read it in 2024 and I'm actually filming this in 2023. So, soon will be your time. I'm excited for you. Number 9 on my list is Sons of Darkness. This is one that I actually did start in 2023. I got about 4 pages into it and put it down because I realised that it was going to need a lot more mental capacity than I had in that moment. So I decided to save it for a time when I can give it the full attention it deserves. I think I want to immersion read this one. Look at it. It's gorgeous. It's just beautiful. Are you ready for this? The sun will set, the world will kneel, the stars will bleed as the shadows dance to a prophecy long foretold. A tale of war and ruin, a ballad inked in blood. That's all I need to know! That's all I need to know. Violence, an empire, a republic, on the brink of oblivion. Buzzwords. Neither gold nor alliances last forever, and they are not the only players on the board. Hero turned torturer, brooding and beautiful, a pirate princess. There's a few interesting characters in this one. Their lives are about to become yet more difficult as a cast of sinister queens, naive kings, pious assassins, and ravenous priests are converging where the Son of Darkness is prophesied to rise, as even forgotten gods prepare to play their hand. I love me a prophecy. I love prophecy stories so much. And we've got prophecies, internal conflicts, all of those different characters that are not the only characters on the board. Like what we had there, the sinister queens, naive kings, pious assassins, ravenous priests. It sounds like one of those stories where there's going to be a lot of moving pieces and a lot going on, and it's giving me Ruin of Kings vibes. And we all know how much I love Ruin of Kings. I am very excited about this, and yeah, I would like to immersion read it, give it the time and dedication that I think it's going to deserve, because I have incredibly high hopes for this one. And it's just drop dead gorgeous. And then finally, number 10, last book on this list, and possibly the most buzzwordy of all, is The 7 Deaths of an Empire. The Emperor is dead, long live the Empire. There's just buzzword, buzzword, buzzword on the cover. That's all I need. And a few friends of mine have read this one recently and very much enjoyed it and think that I will enjoy it. So not only is it covered in my buzzwords, but it now also has some like personal recommendations with it as well. General Borden has a lifetime of duty and sacrifice behind him in the service of the Empire, but with rebellion brewing in the countryside and assassins, thieves, and politicians vying for power in the city, it is all Borden can do to protect the heir to the throne. 7 lives and 7 deaths to seal the fate of the Empire. Does that not sound right up my street? I think it does. So that is how we conclude my priority TBR list for 2024. I would hold all them up, but there's a fair few and my back already hurts, so I'm not going to. But I am very excited by every book I have just held up and told you perhaps a little bit about or not much about. I can't wait to dive into my 2024 reading. Of course, there is also so much more than that I want to read. As I mentioned, I need to get to Legacy of Light. There are some series that I would like to get through, some final books that I need to finish. Some of these are parts of series that I would then like to read more of. I have high hopes, as everyone does at the beginning of every new year, I think, for how successful our New Year's reading is going to be. But fingers crossed, for the first time, this can be a priority list that I will actually stick to, make it through, and complete. Fingers crossed. I need to hold myself accountable somewhat throughout the year to actually getting through these, so if it gets to like July and I haven't read a certain one of these that you think I should read, yell at me, nudge me, kick me. Just make sure I remember to read these books, please. I'm putting all of that responsibility on you. Yeah. Thanks for listening to me ramble about a bunch of books that I'm really excited to read. I would love to know what your like #1 top priority read for the year is going to be. Let me know down below. But with all of that being said, thanks for hanging out. Hope you've had a good time. And I will see you in whatever comes next. Maybe a reading vlog where I read one of these books. Bye!